So we recently looked at a video with 10 inventions that the Aussies came up with, but 10 is not enough. I had so many comments telling me this was an invention, this was an invention. So here are 60. Okay, we're going to look at 60 now. I've got it on a web page. Let's take a look, shall we? Okay. Number 1. The wave-piercing Catamaran. In 1983, Incat of Tasmania built an 8.7-metre prototype of the wave-piercing Catamaran called the Little Devil. Now, I can tell you, I've been on one catamaran, and that was on our honeymoon, and we were in Rhodes, and we went on a catamaran over to Marmaris in Turkey. And normally with boats, you go up and down the waves, don't you? But with the catamaran, it's just solid through, and you don't get the same wave effect. And I assume that is brilliant if you're going from the mainland to Tasmania or vice versa. Great invention. That is one I wouldn't have even thought of, and I bet you guys didn't even think of it. Okay, full-length feature film. The story of the Kelly Gang, which ran just over an hour, screened at the Athenaeum Hall in 1906, was the world's first feature-length film. Wow! Once again, I bet that's another one that you guys wouldn't know about, or the majority. That's pretty insane to think that it was in Australia. You would think it would be somewhere like Hollywood, but that's maybe my modern mind's thinking. Next, the wine casks. The wine cask was invented in 1965 by Thomas Angrove, described in the patent application as improved container and pack for liquids. The 1-gallon polythene bladder in a corrugated cardboard box did not have the tap we enjoy today, but was often cut open and resealed with a peg. That's funny. That is basically the goon box, right? Without the goon bag, without the box. This is the sort of thing my dad would drink wine out of. He would get a box of wine, which always seems a weird way to have wine, but actually it makes sense, right? You get a decent amount of it. Genius. Brilliant. This is the one I can understand. Aussie rules football. Developed as a winter sport for cricketers, yeah, we got that one. As experimental match of Aussie rules football was played at Richmond Paddock, Yarra Park. In 1858, and the Melbourne Football Club was formed. Hey, if you follow my channel, if you don't already, make sure you like and subscribe. But if you follow my channel, you know how much I love Aussie rules. And we're coming in September, hopefully, to watch Aussie rules. Love the thing. Okay. Surf ski. I don't even know what is a surf ski just a surfboard? When he was only 15 years old, a 15-year-old lad in 1912, inspired by porpoises, Harry McLean designed the surf ski to ride the waves at Pelican Island near the mouth of Hastings River. Is that just a surfboard? Because it looks like a surfboard, but there's something on it. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Australia, the sea, waves, surfers. I think it's just a surfboard. But the surf ski might be the proper name for it. Black box flight recorder, incredible invention. These are on all planes, right? And these have been so important to find out what has happened when planes have had accidents. Brilliant. Absolute genius invention. Now, this is one of the big ones that I hear quite often. The inflatable escape slide. In just one of many Qantas firsts, the 1965 Jack Grant invented an inflatable escape slide that doubles as a life raft. The life-saving escape slides are packed into the aircraft doors. I didn't know they were in aircraft doors, but that makes sense, right? But no, I wouldn't have known they were inside the aircraft doors. The funny thing is, though, Qantas have never had to use it. So it's there, but Qantas have never had to use it. That's clever, right? That's brilliant that they haven't had to use their own invention. Surf life-saving reel. Don't know what that is. Bondi Beach isn't just famous for sea and sands. It was there in 1906 that surfer Lester Ormsby demonstrated his invention, a surf life-saving reel. The reel were used until 1970 when they were replaced by rescue tubes. So is that just a line that goes out, you can hold on to it and you just wind the person back in? I would assume so. Interesting. That's what I think it is. Please correct me if I'm wrong. The baby safety capsule. Now, we know this is a different name, right? I would hope. I hope you call it the same. So the car seat, the baby car seat, child seat, whatever term you'd use. Travel became a whole lot safer for babies in 1984 when the baby safety capsule was invented by Colin Nagel and Robert Heath. What did babies do? You guys will be able to tell me, I'm sure. But what did babies do before car seats and young children? What did they do before that? Because surely they couldn't have just sat. That's got me puzzled. I've got a picture in my head of a child just sat in a seat. Just in the actual seat, not in a car seat. The ultrasound scanner. Now, this is incredible. The ultrasound scanner is amazing, right? I've had them on my... What did I have it on? I had it on my Achilles to see if there was any tears or anything. And so I've had this. Pregnant ladies have it. Incredible invention. Now the next one, number 11. Now this is one that really I was told about so much in the comments of the previous video. The cochlear implant, often referred to as the bionic ear. The cochlear implant, which replaces the work of the damaged inner ear, was invented by Professor Graham Clark at the University of Melbourne. Now, I don't know the inside workings of these, but I have seen people with these where you get the hearing aid style device with the bit strapped to the head. Just imagine if this wasn't invented. That would be a lot of my point for some of these. Imagine if it wasn't invented and the struggles that people would still have to go through. This has opened the world up to so many people, right? It just seems that Australia has invented a lot of health-related products or safety products. And the cochlear implant, absolutely incredible, right? Absolutely incredible. What else can you say? Okay, next. Zinc Cream. Hang on, what is Zinc Cream? Before the suntan lotions we knew today, there was Zinc Cream. A thick white cream made from zinc oxide that folks, especially cricketers, smeared across their nose. The cream was developed in 1940 by the Folding Pharmaceutical Company. So this was before sun cream. I'm just trying to picture that. I assume it looked basically the same. See, I prefer using the water-based spray-on that you don't have to rub in and your hands don't get all sticky. Brilliant. Plastic spectacle lenses. Yeah, I suppose they were all metal before, weren't they? In 1960, glasses wearers could thank the Scientific Optical Laboratories in Adelaide for plastic spectacle lenses, which are 60% lighter than their glass counterpart. Oh, so so the lens, ignore me, the lenses are plastic rather than the metal, rather than the glass. Yeah, that's right. I'm right. So it was glass, and now the lenses have become plastic, and which is obviously lighter than glass. And you don't want those Deirdre style, I don't know those heavy Deirdre from Coronation Street style glasses on your head, dear. CPAP masks. CPAP masks, a common treatment for sleep apnea today, were invented by Dr. Colin Sullivan in the 1980s. In 2014, more than 1 million people were using in-home. What are they called? Basically, you have those big masks, almost like in the Alien film, like that, and people sleep. I don't think I could sleep with one of them on, but I probably would get used to it. The old sleep apnea device. Technogas? Technogas is a radioactively labelled inhalant used in nuclear medicine to detect life-threatening pulmonary embolisms. It was invented by Dr. Fordery and Dr. Bill Burke. I don't even know what it is. Let's move on. Multifocal contact lenses These are incredible. If they're the ones that I think about. Queensland's optical scientist Stephen Newman invented multifocal contact lenses in 1992. Are those the ones that kind of change the light? Sometimes they look like sunglasses and sometimes they look like normal glasses, depending on the light. And was that varifocal? I don't even know. Oh man, I get what it does. Changes the lens, the viewing. You might have, if you're short sighted, you can look. Anyway, I get it. Electronic cardiac pacemaker. Although the implantable heart pacemaker was not invented until 1960, it was in 1928 that Australian Dr. Mark Lidwell physicist Edgar Booth developed the first portable pacemaker, which was used to revive a stillborn an infant. Wow, that's incredible. Look at it. How was... Science is incredible, right? Science is incredible. I love it. Now, a lot of people said this as well. Number 18, spray on skin. Professor Fiona Wood, a burn specialist at Royal Perth Hospital, along with scientist Mary Stoner, invented a spray on skin in 1993. They were awarded the Clooney's Ross Award for their contribution to medical science. Now, spray on skin seems bizarre. Is it just like a liquid that sprays on? May have to do more research. That may be a future video. Spray on skin. Anti-flu medication. In 1918 to 1919, an influenza pandemic killed 20 to 40 million people. In 1996, Monash University and the CSIRO developed Relenza, the first drug effectively combat the flu. The flu's an interesting one because I have the flu jab because I've got asthma. And that Charlie knows about it because she works in a pharmacy. She manages a pharmacy. And the funny thing with flu is it's a different flu injection each year that covers different strains of the flu. But once again, science is fantastic because it was a problem. Flu nowadays, unless you're vulnerable, normally elderly or vulnerable, it doesn't really cause much of a problem. Cervical cancer vaccine. In 2006, Professor Ian Fraser developed the first vaccine to prevent a cancer. The vaccine, marked as Gardasil and Cervarix, prevented cervical cancer. Now, this is a tough one because I'm pretty sure this was the type of cancer my mum had. She survived from it. She's still going strong today, but I'm pretty sure she had that. And this can be a devastating one for women, right? And let's hope they are spending the money well and developing more treatments for cancer because cancer is the worst, right? It is horrible. Next. Sports and cars. The Ute. The ubiquitous Ute was designed in 1934 by Lewis Brandt at Ford in Geelong. The ideal vehicle for a farm or tradesman. Not quite how they look today, but you see where it comes from. The big back end that you can load stuff into. There you go, the Ute. I think Australia's famous for the Ute, right? The Hilux and all that. The race cam. Now, I thought, right, this is just a camera put into a car. But it's pretty special. I think it is like a GoPro. The steadiness, but GoPro with the comms on and all the special stuff. But the Network 7 engineer Jeff Healy developed the race cam in 1979. The car-mounted camera had its debut at Bathurst 1000. The Polo Cross. What is that? Aussie rules isn't the only sport invented in Australia. In 1938, Mr. and Mrs. Hurst combined the sports of polo and lacrosse to create Polo Cross. I've never heard of it. That might be another video. Polo Cross. Wow. It's like the poshest sport put into one, right? That's what it is. If you are posh, you play either these sports. And if you're extra posh, play Polo Cross. Super Sopper. Gordon Widnall invented the Super Sopper, a giant sponge for removing excess water from sporting grounds, after his golf balls landed in a puddle on the course in 1974. Interesting. The winged keel. I assume this is for ships and boats. There could be no more infamous than the invention that Brian Lexen's winged keel, which debuted on the yacht Australia II in 1983's race for the America's Cup and was kept secret until America's 132-year hold on the Cup was broken. Nice. So they used it to defeat the Americans. Nice. Variable rack and pinion steering. Steering our cars became safer and more precise in 1971 when Arthur Bishop invented the variable ratio rack and pinion steering system. There we go. I would say this is my dad's opinion. So my dad is currently in Australia at the moment for a cousin's wedding. And I spoke to him this morning, and the one thing he said about the Australian cars are they are really boring. Take that as you will. Yeah, sorry. His opinion, not mine. I will make that opinion when I come down under. The orbital engine. Ralph Sarich invented the orbital engine in 1972 and won Inventor of the Year on the ABC TV's New Inventors. Unable to provide any real competition to the internal combustion engine, the orbital engine found its place as a smaller, cheaper, efficient to a two-stroke engine. I don't even know what an orbital engine is. I wish they had pictures for all of these. Household. Vegemite. The worst invention Australia has ever come up with. They were like, Marmite? Yeah, that's horrible. Let's make something worse. I'm not even going to bother reading it. Coolgardie safe. Invented... They missed off the I. Invented in Coolgardie, the Western Australian goldfields in the 1890s, by Arthur McCormick, the Coolgardie safe is a wooden and wire mesh box draped in damp hessian. Food is preserved by keeping it cool using water evaporation. So it was sort of a fridge, right? That's a sort of fridge. Trying to keep things cool, I think. Clever. Very clever. But then there's the refrigerator, which was in 1855. Hang on. 1890s. Why? If they got the refrigerator, maybe they just don't have as much electricity over in some places than... Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's strange because the refrigerator was in 1855. But then I come to the question, I never knew an Australian invented the refrigerator. Incredible. In James Harrison, founder of the Geelong Advertising newspaper, 1840, was granted a patent for the ether vapor compressing refrigeration system. James won a medal in 1873 for providing he could keep meat frozen and edible for months. Who doesn't rely on a freezer? If you don't, then you are weird. We've got two, all right? We've got two because the freezers are invaluable. The hill hoist. Hang on. The hill hoist is not the clothesline, right? Hang on. No. Why is that picture there? Anyway, motor mechanic Lance Hill invented the Hills hoist in 1945 in South Australia. The new iconic... It is! What the hell? Why is it called a Hills hoist? That doesn't make sense. I thought it was like a hoist that takes things up hills. Now, the now iconic rotary clothesline is listed as a national treasure by the National Library of Australia and featured in the closing ceremony of the Sydney Olympic Games of 2000. Really? Wow. Wow. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. The Stay Sharp knife. Wiltshire Cutlery in Melbourne, in response to the American survey showing 80% of people did not know how to sharpen a knife, set their engineer Dennis Jackson to work on a self-sharpening Stay Sharp knife, was designed and test marketed in Perth in 1969. I do need a knife that stays sharp. I do have a sharpening block, but it's a nightmare to use and it's a bit of a faff. The power board. The power board was invented in 1972 by Cambrook. Despite its success, it was a sad story for Cambrook, who neglected to patent their invention, potentially missing out on millions in royalties. I don't know what the power board is. It's not the electric drill, is it? Maybe it is. Splade? A splade, the all-purpose piece of cutlery that combines... A spoon, fork, and knife in one was invented in Sydney. That's the sort of thing you don't get in posh sets, do you? That's the sort of thing you might get in like a travel set, that, you know, so you don't have too much cutlery. the dual flush toilet. We don't have a dual flush toilet. So you've got the little one for a wee and a big one for a poo, right? What would a Dinky D Aussie article be without the mentioning of the dunny? The water-saving dual flush toilet was invented by Caroma in 1981. We did live in a place that had a dual flush, but we don't anymore. The Victor lawnmower. How happy must the Aussie bloke have been when he could retire his push mower in the back of the shed and stroll around his lawn behind the roar of a Victor lawnmower. Invented by Mervyn Victor Richardson in 1952, more than 8 million Victor mowers have been sold around the world. I've never heard of that brand, but obviously we've got a petrol lawnmower, so even though my garden's not really big enough to need one, but I feel bad getting rid of it. The efficient solar hot water. Solar power is a hot topic these days. Literally today, we have had solar panels fitted on our building, on our house. Amazing. I'm so happy. Solar hot water system was 20 more efficient than the currently used. Brilliant. Polymer banknotes. Amazing. I've got some on the way to me, actually. They are works of art. Wi-Fi. Now, I got this wrong in the previous video, and I didn't get it wrong. I knew that Wi-Fi is not internet. Internet is what you have. Wi-Fi is the delivery method. So, Wi-Fi. Amazing. Notebook. The paper pad was not the computer. Yeah. So, in 1902, J.A. Burkle, a Launceston stationer, invented the humble cardboard-backed top-glued notepad. They didn't call it that. I can't remember what they called it. I watched it on Tony Robinson's Time Walks when he was in Tasmania, and yeah, they called it something different. I can't remember what they called it, but who would have thought that humble invention from Tasmania? Incredible, right? Product activation. Those incredibly long alphanumerical codes you input to activate your latest software purchase are the work of Rick Richardson, who invented the product activation in 1992. This guy is a knobhead. How many times have I activated Windows or Microsoft Office and all that? It's like scrolling the internet for new codes if need be. Anti-hacking software kernel. In 2011, an operating system kernel that used distinguish between trusted and untrusted software was developed by Nikta to prevent hackers from accessing computer systems. Brilliant. Quantum bit. A team of Australian scientists developed the world's first quantum bit, a qubit, in 2012. A qubit can exist in both the 0 and 1 binary states at once. One of the team members, Andrew Zurak, announced in October 2015 that the scientists have developed a logic gate moved one step closer to reality with quantum computers. Incredible. Now, I can't even fathom that. Most people can't fathom that. It's like, it's too much for our minds to even comprehend, so I will not even bother. But incredible. The people that work on computers and improving, computers have gone so far, so quickly. It is incredible. The world is going to be a better place because of the technology in computers. It really will. Google Maps in 2003, Lars and Jens Rasmussen, through their Sydney company, Where2 Technologies, developed software that was acquired by Google to become Google Maps. So it was the original Google Maps. But Google Maps is incredible as well. I use Google Maps almost every day. Even if it's a regular route that I take, the way it is able to update current traffic and give me detours if need be, I don't know where I'd be without Google Maps. Honestly, it is truly life-changing. I will use that term. Industry and aeronautics. Froth flotation. Froth flotation, developed in 1903 by Charles Potter and Wilhelm Delprat, working for mining company BHP, has been credited with being the most important operation for the recovery of upgrading. No idea, that's over my head, that one. The scramjet. The first successful test flight of a scramjet was carried out in the Woomera rocket range in 2002 by the University of Queensland's High-Shot research project team. The team was testing the possibility of supersonic combustion. I think now This is tricky because I have no idea what most of this is about on this section of industry and aeronautics. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. So I'm going to skip past them. You're welcome to tell me in the comments what they actually mean. The homespun pipe making process. Pipe manufacturing was revolutionized in 1910 when Walter Hume devised a way of using centrifugal force to evenly distribute concrete into wire reinforcing, which squeezed out the water, making high strength, dense, waterproof and lightweight pipes. Where would you be? Where would we be without that? Even I can guess how important those pipe making processes are to today's life. Infrastructure, important, right? The kangaroo crane. The kangaroo or self-constructing tower crane was invented in 1960. A frame that lifts the tower hydraulically, it jumps up so another section can be inserted in. Kangaroo cranes were used to build the Petronas Tower in Kuala Lumpur and the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Now, I know they're very tall buildings. I'm not sure what the kangaroo crane is. I can't picture it. The robotic visual horizon. What has a bee's brain got to do with unmanned aircraft? In 2010, the imitating the way the honeybee sees, Queensland scientists developed a robotic visual horizon that enables an autopilot to guide an aircraft through complex aerobatic maneuvers. Wow, that is incredible. To be able to do that, and I think actually technology is there with a lot of stuff now, but back then, this is taking technology to a new level, isn't it? It's taking away the need for people like pilots and drivers in general of other vehicles. I think it's brilliant. 50. The electric drill. Can you guess when the electric drill was invented? I bet you were thinking 1889. No, I wasn't. But that is when Arthur Arnott of the Union Electric Company of Melbourne patented the world's first electric drill. He was designed to drill rock and dig for coal. I would have thought, if I was going to talk about the electric drill, I would have thought maybe the 70s. So I would have been well off. Farming. Stump jump plough. The damage a stump can do to an undercarriage of the ute is no secret, so imagine its effect on a plough. The problem was solved in 1876 when Richard and Clarence Bowyer Smith invented the stump jump plough. I'm looking at that. So if it hit a stump, it would just bounce over it? Maybe. The Dethridge irrigation wheel. The Dethridge wheel, which measures flow from irrigation supply channels into farm channels, was invented in 1910 by the then Commissioner of Victoria State Rivers and Water Supply Commission. I would say that quite a lot of these are invented due to necessity, right? There's a problem, we've got to solve it. And quite often if there's a problem, then it's more likely to be solved quicker. The self-propelled rotary hoe. The self-propelled rotary hoe pulls itself forward while it hoes the ground. It sounds robotic, but it was invented back in 1912 by 16-year-old Cliff Howard, called rotavators. We know what rotavators are. These are still used today. I know what rotavators are. Brilliant. Mechanical shearing clippers. Now, whenever you see on TV shearing clippers, mechanical ones, even then it looks quite tricky. Shepherds and whatnot make it look easy to clip sheep, but when you see normal people doing it, it looks so tricky. So imagine doing it with those scissors, the big giant shearer scissors. That has saved a hell of a lot of time and effort and probably money. Grain strippers. The grain stripper, invented by John Ridley in 1843, is a harvester that stripped grain from their stalks, threshed them to separate the grain from the ears. Time, money, effort. Once again, there's a problem, let's solve it. Buffalo fly trap. Buffalo are buffalo, a blood-sucking parasite that plagues cattle. In 1991, you always see cows and livestock that have flies and insects all around them. In 1991, the CSIRO developed the buffalo fly trap to combat problems. Cows walk through a brushline-tinted tunnel. Then the flies are brushed off, being trapped, are dried out by the heat, and fall to the ground where they're eaten by ants. It's like circle of life. Incredible. Defense and policing. The Polylite Forensic Lab. We've all seen these, even if it's on American TV shows. The Polylite is a forensic tool invented by Ron Warrender and Milutin Stoilovich at the Australian National University in 1989. It shows fingerprints up against a background. We all know them, right? We all know them. Next, tank. The war vehicle, not the war container. No way did an Australian engineer invent the tank. No way. That seemed... See, I would have thought maybe the English or the French or the German. Not the Australian. Wow. The tank was invented in 1912 by Australian engineer Lance de Mol. And although it received little interest on first submission, well, clearly that's changed, but was put into use during the First World War. The Jindalee radar system. Ciro scientists developed the Jindalee radar system in 1995 to detect stealth aircraft through monitoring sea and air movement. Wow, the science involved in that is mind-blowing, incredible. And the last one, number 60. Thank you for sticking with me for this time. Blast Glass is the Superman of bulletproof glass. Invented by Peter Stephenson in 2003, the glass was built to withstand explosions. Withstand explosion was successfully tested in Woomera against a 5-ton bomb. It's amazing they don't use that glass for mobile phones, right? Because these things are fragile as anything, right? So many of these, as I said, are for safety, are for protection, for health. And I think that's incredible. I think that is incredible. Now, I wouldn't say that Australia has invented the most things in the world, because they haven't. But what they have invented are brilliant. Some of them are honestly life-changing, right? Some of them are seriously life-changing. I'm just trying to think of some. Even the drill, the electric drill. You know, think about how important that is. The pipe making process, how important is that? I'm trying to think of some more. Wi-Fi. Where would we be without Wi-Fi? Technology has advanced so far now because of Wi-Fi and having the ability to connect to the internet from any sort of device. And I don't think it's just about Wi-Fi either. It's the use of waves to transfer data. The lawnmower, it's not that life-changing, but it's pretty useful, right? The refrigerator. The refrigerator may be the most important invention, I think, out of all of them. Absolutely incredible. Which is your most impressive or life-changing invention out of all of these 60? I think it's got to be that refrigerator, because where would people be without it? Thank you so much for watching. If you've stuck with me, make sure you like and subscribe, and I will catch you next time.